Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Shannon, this is Made by Boo, and I am recording today from a little bit outside of Boise, Idaho. You may have noticed I am doing back-to-back weeks. I do not normally do that. Sometimes it's because I feel like I don't have enough to share. Other times it's because I have a full-time job, a husband and 3 children, a dog and a cat who would all like my attention. So sometimes that is hard to feel like I have enough time to do that and devote to everything else. But this time I'm coming to you from back-to-back weeks because I normally film on a weekend and then release it in the week that's upcoming. Well, next weekend when I would normally film, I'm going to be traveling and I won't necessarily have time to film then. So rather than have a 3-week gap right now, I figured we could just do a back-to-back that would involve, hey, this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm planning on working, and maybe a little bit into some of the insane ramblings from what I'm planning for after I'm done traveling. So we're going to dive right in now. I have 1 finished object, 3 works in progress, and a pile of stuff down beneath me. Some of it is in progress, others of it is not, but is upcoming projects that I am now getting excited to get to. So, first things first, my finished object is, as usual, a pair of socks. I'm almost always knitting a pair of socks, and they do tend to not take forever because it's a pair of socks. It's a small item. This particular one, the yarn is from Alexandra, The Art of Yarn, and the color was Salida 2024. As I said last time, the dyer told me this was left over from a yarn, a different yarn show they went to. So I'm assuming that name is some sort of a reference to that. But they have not been blocked yet. As soon as I'm done filming today, I am going to put these into soak. I kind of went back and forth like 2 or 3 times as to exactly what I was going to do with these. So what I did, 20 rounds 1 by 1 rib. Then this pattern is 5 gray, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 10 with the heel because it was the 5 and then 5 again, 7, 5, 7, 5 until I got to the toe and everything was done. I probably didn't need that many 5s and 7s, sorry. Well, I went through several different ideas of what I was going to do with this. At one point I was thinking about doing is it the Love Story socks? From a Crazy Sock Lady. I've done that pattern before and I thought that might be cute. I thought about even just doing like micro stripes every now and then of just 1 of each kind of randomly put through there. I thought about doing just a few up here that were a little smaller and the rest of the sock gray. At one point I was going to do these and then the foot gray, and then I just really liked the neon colors with the gray and decided, you know what? The math is right where I only ended up with a couple of extra rounds to make the foot the correct length before I did the toe. And I don't think the heel or the toe look like too much gray in that spot. Especially since there's a little extra gray at the beginning and at the end, so the extra in the middle, it just all matches. And I am so happy with how they turned out. I did, of course, have some leftovers, which this morning I actually did get around to weighing my leftovers and dispersing them for various scrappy projects. So you will probably see some of these colors again at some point. I'm not quite sure when I'm going to get around to scrappy projects again, but I will. So these are a finished pair of vanilla socks. Just a simple, I did the striping, not a pattern or anything. I'm going to put them into block later and then I will have a nice fun pair. I thought at first when I got this color that it would be great for the winter because, you know, nice bright pops in the wintry time. But I'm kind of glad I'm doing them at the beginning of summer too, and I'm going to enjoy them all the time. So that is my only finished object. I have 3 works in progress, and as I mentioned, I am traveling next week, so 2 of my works in progress are kind of with that idea in mind, and I'm not sure. We'll get into that in a minute. So the first ones that I'm working on, they're barely works in progress. I have 2 pairs of socks currently in this bag because it is trying to get ready to travel with. So the first one, this is a yarn from Nomadic Yarns. The color is Heat Wave in the twisty sock base. I purchased it a while ago, but you're not really going to see that part right now because that's not the part I'm working on. So hold on. So these are a self-striping pair. I have it pulled into 2 approximately 50-gram cakes. I think my 50-gram ball holders are somewhere else, so I'm a little sad. I may try to see if a 100-gram sleeve will at least help keep them contained in this bag. But this is the basic colorway, and I have them so that they should be at least semi-matching. But all that I have started is 1 cuff. Now, this did not come with the self-striping. This was left over from, I can't remember if it was 2023 or 2022, but it is from Muse 2320, and it was part of a advent calendar, and I made a shawl out of it, but I did not use all of the colors it came with. I think it came with 12 colors, and there was a few I just didn't feel like totally matched. This was one of them, but I felt like it would go pretty well to do cuffs and heels at least to help make sure that I have enough to do the socks. I should have enough with 100 grams, but you never know. But I am trying to get through 20 rounds of 1x1 ribbing on both pairs of socks so that way when we go, I do get motion sickness. So I'm not always able to work on stuff while I travel. But in the last few years, I've gotten better at being able to knit in the car as long as it's like simple knitting. So I'm trying to set up the socks to be simple knitting in the car, just in case nothing else is, but I should have a lot of simple knitting. So not a lot to see yet. I am hoping when we meet again, there will be more because again, it'll be simple knitting for in the car, but also when I'm visiting, I'm going to visit family, and if we're sitting around talking, I usually have something in my hands to work on. I do not sit still well. So in the same vein, the other thing I have in here is another pair of socks. This is going to be a DK weight pair of socks, and I am doing a patterned socks with it, not just simple. That may be a dumb idea, but excuse me. So this is going to, this is a DK weight pair of socks. Sorry, it's the brand Always Be Kind yarn. I don't know why I completely lost my train of thought. And it is the color black, white, and rainbow all over. It might have been done in like in partnership with my local yarn store because they're on the label too. But it is DK Sparkle Base, and I am doing the Vanilla is the New Black sock pattern. So one of the reasons I picked this out is because if you've been around for a little while, I do have my bingo card of kinds of projects I'd like to do this year. I don't know if I'm actually going to get it completed by the end of the year. We will see because there's still some big projects on there. I may just kind of take off the 2025 part of it and just keep going until it's done. Or even just see what I get done by the end of 2025 and call it a day. But one of the things I had on there was doing a pair of DK weight socks. I have like 3 different yarns that are designed for DK weight socks. And I thought I'd end up doing them at the beginning of the year, but no, I'm starting them now. So the other reason it was picked is my daughters pointed out, you know, this would be cute, but also it's rainbow, it's June. It's not exactly a pride project, but it's not a pride project. I mean, it's just going to be rainbow on sock. Anyway, I absolutely love the way it's turning out. So I am making a little bit of an alteration to the Vanilla is the New Black pattern. It is kind of minor, but the ribbing that I'm doing is a little bit different, and then I'm doing a different length before I start doing the heel. So mine will be a little bit shorter, but I have found I tend to use bigger, well, different size needles, a little bit bigger than a lot of people do with socks. And the last couple of times I've done any sort of a DK weight sock, I've gotten to the end and felt like I was playing massive yarn chicken. So it's like they're going to be thicker socks, but they're not going to be like thicker boot socks or anything like that. If I ever decide to do DK weight socks that I want to be really tall to go with boots or something, I'll probably get 2 skeins of yarn for that. But I don't have 2 skeins for this, so they're going to be kind of shorty, almost more of like DK slipper socks to wear around the house. So not very far. I have started on the heel, and with it having a pattern, it's not going to be entirely great for working on in the car, but that doesn't mean I can't work on it in the car at all. Okay, so the last work in progress I have right now is in one of my absolute favorite project bags. This is my Bay Day tank by the Little Wolf Knits. The yarn is also from the Little Wolf Knits. I know you're not really going to be able to read the label because it's a nice, simple, basic one, but the colors on the brown and the fact that nothing ever really focuses anyways. So this is using the color River Run. It was part of her Wolf Pack collection that was in at the beginning of the year. I believe it is out now. So most likely, sorry, but I don't think the color is available anymore. So when we last spoke about this, I had the back done down to the join. One side done, I believe, and was on the second side. That sounds right. Or maybe, yeah, I had just joined the 2 sides and then was going to be going down to hit the arms and then keep going. So that is where I was last time. I, as you can see, have joined under the arms. And this is a paid for pattern, so of course I don't want to give too many details. But I have done a little bit through, and I got to go a little bit farther down before the next section. Most of this is just back and forth, or not back and forth, in the round knitting. I will say I do technically love the way the color went on the back when it was back and forth there. I mean, I know this is just how hand-dyed yarns are. I don't like the in the round quite as much with the way it pools, but I don't hate it either. There's just enough here and there to make it not weirdly striped. But it is always one of those where, man, you love it in a certain way and then it changes, and that's always a little sad. I did slightly have the, I don't know, I guess the vague hope in my mind was that I would be able to do, there's supposed to be ribbing at the neck and at the arms, and in my mind I was going to be able to do that this weekend, including the sewn bind off, so that when I travel next weekend, it's just, I can use whatever yarn I have to get as much length as I want. And then I realized I'm not going to be able to pick up, do the ribbing, and do the sewn bind off for all 3 of those right now. Not while getting anything else I needed to do done this weekend. But based on how long it's been taking me, I mean, this is technically quite a bit in a week, but I don't think I entirely need to worry that I'm going to run through all of the rest of my yarn, because this is what I have left of the first cake. I have not weighed it, but I mean, it feels like I still have a good, I don't know, it could be anywhere between 20 and 40 grams. I'm not the world's best at calculating it. I probably should just go ahead and weigh it before I go. But yeah, I've got a little bit left there. And then I do have the whole second skein still. The biggest reason why I wanted to get the ribbing done for all of those is because the Little Wolf Knits does tend to do slightly cropped tops, which is not something that I am super into anyways. But also, I'm not sure, because it's not like this is somebody I've ever met in person or anything, but I think she may be a little shorter than I am. We don't have the exact same figure. Like I can get that much from watching her videos. But any which way, she does seem to like things a little more cropped than I do. So when I've made her patterns in the past, I've usually added a couple of inches. And I only have the 2 skeins, which should be fine. I mean, I can make the twisted t-shirt with the length I want with 2 skeins. Well, 2 skeins plus the extra for the ribbing. And this is not going to have like the sleeves or anything. So I feel like it should be fine. But it's also one of those where it's like, I'd like to know for sure that I'm going to be able to do those and get the length I want. So if I hit the point where I'm about to start the second skein while I'm gone and I have not done that ribbing or anything yet, I could still technically put it aside and wait until I get back. Or I could go ahead and join the next yarn, and then when I get home, I could just, I mean, yeah, it's in a cozy and everything, but I could still take it out of the cozy, pull from the outside to do the ribbing. It would be a little bit of a pain, yes, but I could. So we'll just kind of see how far I go on the other stuff. And technically speaking, I could always do the knitting and then just, no, because I don't have enough cords for that. I don't know. I could adapt and do the knitting and then do the sewn bind off later and figure it out. There is options. It's just figuring out which one is the best option. And I'm not sure. I mean, there's that part of me that's even like the 2 pairs of socks and the tank top. I should not need more knitting than that. But I still keep debating between caking up another sock yarn or just throwing in another project to take. Being without knitting would not be the end of the world. And I know I'm not going to get this much knitting done. But also in my brain, it's like, yes. But what if all of a sudden you become a speed knitter? You better pack 5 extra projects. I know I cannot be the only one that goes through that. But I think that's part of why my brain is so chaotic with all the projects I want to do right now. Which does lead to the next part. So, the next part, as I'm trying to make sure all these projects are within reach. The next part, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, because I have already taken that picture, I've got some thoughts on projects and everything. And I don't know if this is kind of spurned by the what am I going to take traveling brain, or if the what am I going to take traveling brain is making me think of all of this. But I want to do a lot, and I don't want to wait to do any of it. So, I have been working on a few projects over the course of the year with the idea that I have an Advent project in each of these where it was like, if I just do 2 colors every month, I will finish the project by the end of the year. One of them I then bumped up to 3 colors every month because reasons I will get into in a second. But I'm now starting to feel like I'm constantly falling behind on them. And I want to get them done before the end of the year because I kind of made that goal at the beginning of the year that if I got as many Advent calendars as I did last year, I was not going to get to the end of the year and have worked on none of them. And as of right now, I am on track to complete all of my Advent calendars. So, kind of going through those. The first one on top here, I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to keep working on some of these. This is one I may take as just like the backup project. So I'm connected to one color, of course. I have not worked on it at all this month, so I do not have this month's colors. But this is the Anthology Throw using Ruby and Rose's 2024 Advent Calendar. She is one who I did order her Advent Calendar again this year. I think so far she's the only one who I have ordered again versus not having them 2 years in a row. I did try to diversify. I do really like Ruby and Rose's. It's just so squishy and I'm so excited, and I don't know what I'll do with hers next year. But I do have this one that could theoretically be a good backup to bring because, while it does have the eyelet rows, most of it is just knitting in the round. And because it's all kind of like this, it would be still semi-portable in my lap. So I have not done my 2 colors yet this month. Here's color 1. And then I decided to get just a little bit bold, I guess, semi-bold. And I caked up the next like 5 colors. so that I have several months together. And as I've been sitting here trying to decide how I'm going to lessen my overwhelmedness, that was one of my options where it's like, if I just wind up all of this, I'm not winding up 2 colors every month. But also there is that small part of me that's like, okay, well, what if I just kind of go on this project? And if I get more than 2 colors a month, I get more than 2 colors a month. It's fine. And it is fine. But I don't think this is going to be the project I zoom on. Because I think even zooming on it, it will still take a while because it's a big flippin' blanket. And I am not changing colors when the pattern says they did. I'm just going until a color runs out, because most of mine have lasted longer than hers did, but I had heard other people ran out of yarn of one color before hers did, and I would rather be figuring out how to add extra rows at the end of it to use up all the yarn than have all these scraps from colors that I didn't use all of it and the throw smaller than I want it. So the other project, this one's going to be a lot harder to show, that I am working on as a monthly project. So this is, let's see if I can show a stack, the Yorkshire Crochet Along blanket. So this is just my stack of squares. 2 of them are still connected. I have been keeping them connected to their ball of yarn until I block them, so that I can kind of block as I go, but I also know which ones I blocked and which ones I didn't. These are the next 2 colors I am doing. So I am doing the Haunted Holidays Advent Calendar from FanGirl Fibers, again from 2024. So I've got the next, well, it's technically the next 4 colors, because I have 2 colors in each one, and the number is just which square I'm doing. So this is the one that I did technically bump up. This is just the scraps from the ones that I have cut off already. So this is the one that I did bump up from 2 colors a month to 3, with the idea that then I would be done with all of the squares before, or by August, I think I calculated out. And then I would have the rest of the year to join them. And that is where this other basket comes in, because I did go ahead and order my joining yarn. And I went for this, I can't remember what the color is, but it is a Cascade Heritage sock yarn in this nice tan. It might have been camel, or might have been caramel. It doesn't look like a caramel to me. But yeah, it's just this pale brown. So it's like I have all of that done, and getting this done would be great, but some of these squares are just complicated enough. It takes me almost 2 hours to do them while watching a video tutorial. So speed running this one is not entirely going to work either. Are you starting to see why this is an issue for me getting these done quicker? So yeah, both of those are going, and I have both this, like, I want to speed run through both of them to get them off my bingo card and not feel like I'm overwhelmed, and neither of them are really working with me on that. So then comes in the other 2 projects that I have that I'm debating bringing along. Well, one I'm definitely not bringing along as a spare, but I also desperately want to start it. And the other one, maybe. We'll see. All right, so the other 2 that are maybes. One is an advent calendar. So this is the main skein. This was the 2024 advent calendar from A Chick That Knits. The theme was dark and dreamy, and I got the sparkle base. And I had it out of the bag earlier, so that's kind of why it's a mess. So here is what the colors look like. And I finally decided what I was going to do with it. And so now, naturally, I want to start it right now. But this, with a pattern, on a road trip, yes, I would absolutely have room for it. But unless I am able to just put it all up in like one cake, which I know I can't, probably not the best to travel with. So I'm telling myself I have to wait at least until I get back and finish something else, or at least get back and organize. But this is going to be the Radvent cardigan. So it is like striped this way. And I got it out this morning partially because I'm excited about the project, so naturally I want to start it now, even if I know practically I can't. But also because I wasn't sure if I'm going to do it in the order it came in or if I was going to rearrange the colors to give it a little bit more gradient. And looking at the colors, it's not really going to gradient either way. So I'm thinking I might just like rearrange one or two here and there, and other than that, just do it in the order it came in. But I haven't even purchased the pattern yet. I've just selected it. So I have no idea what it would take to do it. I don't know if I can just cake it up in multiple of them together and then work until it's done, or if you're supposed to change at certain points. I don't know any of that yet. So it's not a good project to take along. So, I've now given you 3 different project plans, 2 of which were 100% no, can't take it along, and don't even know if I can speed it up. And one that's like maybe I could speed it up a little bit, but it's never going to be super fast. And here's the last project. This is one I do want to get done this summer. This is probably where my it is where at least one 50-gram cozy is. Weird. So this is, it does not look like it, but this is going to be a shawl. So these 2 came from FanGirl Fibers. I don't think it was 2024. I think it might have been 2023. Maybe it was 2024? I don't know. It was a, oh my goodness, brain dead. Sorry, it was a Christmas Eve cast-on. There we go. I knew I could think of the words. And it was Grinch themed. So this is, I think, I know it's based on Cindy Lou Who and the Grinch. I want to say this is Stink, Stank, Stunk, and this one has a different name. They're not just named after the characters. And it did come with a pattern to do color work socks using the 2 of them. And I just didn't want to do it. I can't even tell you 100% why I didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. Now I am slightly wishing I had more of the pink than the green, but my daughter was looking at these 2 on the shelf and saying it made her think of a watermelon. So I'm going to take this leftovers, that's a slightly different pink, do this one and then this one, then add a little bit of white. I do not have enough hands for this. Then this green, and then this little bit of darker green at the end, and do a half circle shawl that looks kind of like a watermelon. Which theoretically, once I get it started, should be an easy go. And it would just kind of rest over the shoulders. I'm not even sure it would be a great one. There's that part of me that's like, ooh, maybe I should figure out how to do beadwork in the middle of it and do rows of black beads to look like the seeds. And then I'm like, yeah, but I'm kind of making it up as I go. I'm adapting a half circle shawl pattern to work for this. I don't know if I'm going to get enough pink to make it look good, or if I'm going to keep going and then be like, this is awful, and pull the whole thing out. So I don't know how it's going to go, and therefore trying to figure out exactly where to put the seeds where they look logical. I can't quite do that. But I'd like to do it in my brain. It's going to look super cute. I don't know if I'll use all of that Grinch green or not, because it may just be too much. But it's one of those where it's it could be a potential bring along, but I don't know if I want to start a new project as I go. So these are kind of my upcoming project plans for things that I want to do. And of course, when I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, I want to do this faster, and this faster, and this faster, and this faster, they're all difficult to bring along. So that's not great. But it is sometimes just how it happens. All right, so that is all my knitting and I guess technically crochet. I vaguely showed my crochet squares, but that's all my making content. life, it's only been a week. We did go to another Boise Hawks game, and as you can see, I did not get horribly sunburned this time. I worked in my garden a little bit. It feels so early in my garden, but I'm already getting some really great kale and lettuce, and my strawberry patch has been absolutely insane. Every year it gets a little bit better, and they're all like the runner strawberries. So I'm getting more strawberries every year, and then they just keep trying to spread. So I'm trying to propagate them a little bit, and I want to say last year I think we got maybe 20 strawberries total. And we have had more than one day where we go out there and we're getting 20 strawberries that day. And then a couple of days later, another like overflowing handfuls of them. I imagine it's going to slow down at some point here because I don't think strawberry season usually lasts all summer. But we've been very happy with that. And my daughter is going absolutely strawberry insane. Other than that, it's just work and getting ready for a road trip. We will be going to California, where I will be meeting up with all of my siblings and my mom, and just having a good weekend for her birthday. And, I mean, who doesn't want to occasionally go and do something with your family? I shouldn't say who doesn't. There's a lot of people who don't, but I do. While we are along, I have been enjoying... I used to do a lot of like little ones on Instagram Reels. I have used Instagram a lot less over the last several months. I know not any company is perfect, but there's still some where sometimes they're just like, yeah, I don't want to help you. And giving them content that keeps people on their apps helps them. So that I just have not been enjoying being on there much lately. But I am enjoying doing the shorts on here, so I am planning on still doing some while traveling. The tripods, there we go. The tripods that I use most frequently when I film shorts are very portable, so I should still be able to film some here and there. But then also just little bits of my projects on the road with me. Hopefully I am able to do those as well. So if you do want to make sure to not miss those and you're not already subscribed, now would be a really good time to. But yeah, that is all that I have for today. And I will not be back again next week. We're not moving to a weekly. Maybe at some point in my life, but right now I am not quite ready to commit to filming weekly. But I will see you again in a couple of weeks. And until then, have a very happy making.